Folks, why lie about your condo fees? I'll get into that, and then the latest home prices and insights for condos for the GTA for week ending February 21, 2024. Thank you to the many of you that have subscribed to the channel. Those of you that keep watching, you enjoy the content, consider subscribing. You know, we're looking at a condo with our buyer client, and everything's on the listing agreement, everything that should be there, and the condo fees are there. And so my client is considering buying this property, this condo. I'm doing my research ahead of time to be able to update my client properly. And in my research, I noticed that our condo fee is considerably less than the most recent sold condos in the building. Now, I've heard of condo fees going up. It's not too often you hear, I don't know if I have ever heard actually, now that I think about it, of condo fees coming down. So I noticed, and I'm not talking $20 or $30, it was close to $200 less, our condo fee, versus similar square footage condos in the same building. So I called the agent and he says, yeah, those are the condo fees. I go, are you sure? And the agent says, okay, let me look into it a little bit more. And that's what he did, and called me back at the end of the day and says, actually, they're $200 or about $200 higher. Well, that changes everything for my client, not just because of their personal monthly budget. $200 a month is a lot out of somebody's budget. But that condo fee, the maintenance fee that you pay every month, the banks take that into consideration when you're qualifying for the mortgage. And if you're buying a condo and you're kind of at the top end of your budget already, that extra $100, $200, $300 in maintenance fees can affect whether you qualify for the mortgage or not. There is absolutely no reason to lie on the maintenance fee. It's going to come out. And I asked the agent, how did you get it so wrong? He says, well, that's what the client told me. Okay, but didn't the agent do the same exercise I did when they were maybe coming up with a price? Shouldn't he have noticed that it's off, or shouldn't he verify that that's the real maintenance fee? Of course he should, knowing that any buyer who's buying this condo is most likely going to have a mortgage, and that maintenance fee, like I just said, will affect the mortgage qualifications. And I've come across before where listing agents will lie and not tell the truth when it comes to the maintenance fee and maybe what it covers or the amount. And it's just silly. It's wrong. It stops the sale right in its tracks. It's going to be found out. In my years of being a realtor and selling hundreds of condos, I could only, in one hand, count the amount of times the offer I received did not have a status review. And in most of those cases where there was no status certificate review, that's because we supplied the status certificate up front. And before the offers were written, the buyer's lawyers were able to review the status certificate. But other than that, 99.9% of the time, offers coming in on condos have a status certificate review condition that the buyer's lawyer, before this transaction is firm, the buyer's lawyer can review the status certificate condition to verify the maintenance fee, but there's all sorts of other things that need to be verified. So what do you have to gain by not putting the real amount? Why go all the way down the negotiations just for the buyer to say, if the maintenance fees are that much more, I don't want this place anymore? Well, why do that? You're serving nobody when you do that. In fact, you frustrate and upset a lot of people along the way. Stop lying about what the true maintenance fees are and what they include. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. If you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, selling, buying, it's really simple. Up here, there's a link to my calendar. Below in the description, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the condo numbers. Here we go, folks. The GTA Condo Market. Here's a quick summary. It's for week ending February 21. We got Peel condos. Prices seem to be heading up, but York region and for the city of Toronto, 1 week to the next, prices got a little softer. We're going to start off with the city of Toronto. Now, this chart has weekly numbers broken down for a year. For week ending February 21st, 185 condos were sold. This is just for the city of Toronto. Condo apartments only. There's no condo townhouses in this data. So condo apartments, 185 were sold. So sales 1 week to the next did come down. They were trending up, and 185 is still one of the higher weeks that we've seen as far as sales go this year so far, but it is down considerably from the previous week. And 24 of those condos sold at $1 million or more, which is 4 less than what we sold the previous week at $1 million or more. An average sold price also down from the previous week. So the amount of condos selling at $1 million or more in the city of Toronto, down. The amount of sales, down, just 1 week to the next. Average sold price, down. We're now at $722,000. Overall though, $722 is the second highest week we've had all year so far. Now, I'm not saying this is a trend. So far, prices seem to be trending up overall, but we are down from the previous week. Compared to last year, we're 5% lower than where the average sold price was a year ago. Now, if we kind of go back to the beginning of the year, we were 6% lower, 5% lower, then the same, then 3% lower and 5%. 3 to 5% kind of seems so far about the norm this year's condo prices versus where we were this time last year. The norm for now. The median price is $670,000, which is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. And when we look at the dotted line, that's a 4-week moving average. It does seem overall, even though we're down 1 week to the next, overall prices for condos in the city of Toronto have been trending upwards. Of the 185 that sold, 28% sold at list price or more. So it's not overly competitive, and that's kind of been the norm over the last few weeks. Listings versus last year, the blue is for the week last year for the same week. We're listing considerably more condos this year than what we were listing last year at this time. And active listings, they were trending down, but since the end of January, we're finding that there's more and more condos available for sale. And months of inventory, 1 week to the next, jumped up. Months of inventory was trending down, prices were going up, and now months of inventory jumped up and we could see prices came down a little bit. So we're sitting at 3.9 months of inventory. Average days on market is 31. Look, it's a little bit lower than what it's been earlier this year, but still 31 is by no means condos are flying off the shelves. And at 3.9, we're pretty much in the middle of a balanced market when it comes to condos in the city of Toronto. That's all the city of Toronto though. Let's look at Toronto broken down into 9 different neighborhoods or 9 different sections. So we said months of inventory is 3.9 for the whole city. Well, let's look at some of the areas that are doing a little bit different than the whole average. Scarborough, look, Scarborough for detached properties is one of the most competitive neighborhoods. It's also for condos. We're sitting at 3.3 months of inventory. Still a balanced market, but it beats the overall average. but 40% of the condos in Scarborough sold at list price or more. So that's somewhat competitive there. When we look at, say, Etobicoke, we're higher than the 3.9, we're at 4%, and only we're at 4 months of inventory, and only 15% of those condos sold at list price or more. High Park, a little bit more competitive at 2.5 months of inventory. We've got downtown at 4.9 months of inventory. So all the cities, 3.9. Downtown is 4.9 months of inventory. You'll find some parts, some buildings, you may even experience not a balanced market, but more of a buyer's market. We sold 54 in downtown Toronto, 54 condos. However, there's 1,138 available condos for sale just in the downtown core. Midtown, 4.1 months of inventory. Uptown, a lot more competitive, 2.8 months of inventory. Let's look at York Region. 48 condos were sold. Those sales are trending up, overall trending up. They came down for a few weeks. 2 of those were at $1 million or more. Average sold price, it did come down from the previous week to $688,000, but overall kind of looks like prices are trending up. And it's the trend really that we're after here, not on a weekly basis what happened. Please don't make decisions based on what you see just in 1 week. We're looking for the overall trend to kind of figure out where the market is going. Compared to last year, we're 4% higher than where the average sold price was a year ago. The median price is 5% higher at $670,000. And if you look at the dotted line, it's gradual, but gradually trending up over the last few weeks. 48 were sold, a quarter, 25% sold at list price or more. Listings are up for over what we've seen the last few weeks. Active listings, not really a big change. 436, 454, 452, not a lot of change in active listings, and months of inventory did come down. It's now sitting at 2.2 months of inventory. Here's condos for Peel region. Condo sales actually came down. They were increasing gradually, but last week, 32 condos were sold across Peel region. The majority of these condos are being bought and sold in Mississauga, but for Peel region, 32 were sold. One of those was at $1 million or more. Average sold price continuing to climb. Peel region condos, $616,000 is the average sold price. So far this year, it's the highest average we've seen in a week. Compared to last year, 616 is 4% higher than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is higher than the average price. The median price, $623,000, and that's 8% higher than where we were this time a year ago. 32 were sold, only 22% were sold at list price or more. The previous week, 21%, so not that competitive, but prices trending upwards. Active listings trending upwards. Listings versus the previous year, we're listing far more condos in Peel region this year than were listed a year ago. Months of inventory is climbing. We're at 3.4 months of inventory. And I say that with a tone in my voice because it's hard to understand how months of inventory is climbing and prices are climbing, but that's what's happening. Folks, this is not an exact science. It should be. As months of inventory climb, prices come down, but maybe there's a delay. I can't always explain everything that's happening, but that's what's happening right now. And here's a quick summary. City of Toronto, York region, Peel, I would say we're pretty much in a balanced market between 3 months and 5 months of inventory. You're going to experience that also in York region. Even though it's showing 2.2 months of inventory, you're going to see that some buildings, some neighborhoods just have a lot of condos for sale. There's the few outliers where condos are pretty much in demand and very few come up, but usually you're going to be in a balanced market when it comes to condos across the GTA. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.